Lesson 11 will continue to assist in preparing you for delivering your intercultural presentation. You will begin by reading chapters 12 and 13 from your textbook, and then viewing chapter 12 and 13 PowerPoints. As a reminder, these PowerPoints are an additional learning tool to assist you with completing this lesson. Any activities in the PowerPoint you are not required to do for me for any sort of grade. They are just an additional learning tool for you. Following the reading in the PowerPoint, I have created a video that walks you through how to structure and organize your own intercultural presentation. Next, you'll be experimenting with putting together an outline. This is really going to help you understand major points, supporting points, proper indentation, proper symbolization. It's a worksheet, so you're allowed to write on the worksheet. So if you open the file, it'll ask you give you a couple of guidelines. You are to indicate which items below are major points and which items are supporting points by fitting the material on the outline form on page 2 of this worksheet. So you're going to take these points to be organized, and you are going to plug them into this format on page 2. This is what we call a topic keyword outline. You are going to be using aspects of a topic keyword outline for your intercultural presentation, but you'll also be using complete sentences. So this is going to give you an opportunity to practice using topic keyword format. Once you've completed that, right below where there's this extra space, I ask that you answer the following questions. Why is organization important? And this is all relating to organization and structure of outlines for speeches and presentations. Is there any logical order for main points? Why should you use an outline instead of a full manuscript when planning a speech? You're going to save this document to your USB or your computer, and then you'll upload it to the appropriate Dropbox attached below titled Organizing the Points. This particular activity is worth 13 points. Next, you will be analyzing a speech in your textbook at the end of chapter 12. If we click on the guidelines for the assignment, this is the actual guidelines. So again, whenever you have something like this, you are required, as it states, to respond to the questions on a separate Word document. Please avoid plugging them into the guidelines, as this is really confusing for me to decipher what information was the guideline I gave you and what information is that's coming from you in response to the question you're answering. So you're going to review the sample speech at the end of chapter 12 on pages 343 and 345, or through 345. After reading the sample speech, you're going to respond to the following questions below. They should be responded on a separate Word document, and then you'll upload that to the appropriate Dropbox. You are going to be analyzing the attention device that the speaker used, and then answering the question, what type of an attention device did the speaker use? In your opinion, was the attention device effective? Why or why not? How did the speaker establish credibility to speak on the subject, personal and or research? In your opinion, was the speaker effective at establishing credibility? Why or why not? What type of organizational structure did the speaker use for the body of the speech? How many main points did the speaker have in the body of this speech? What type of support was used for the conclusion? And in your opinion, was the speaker's support effective? Why or why not? If we look at the rating scale, it's a simple present, not present. 1 point for your response being present, 0 if it's not. And then the scoring guide is attached as it relates to the questions that you're answering. Again, your responses should be submitted to the Dropbox titled Speech Analysis, and this one is also worth 8 points. Next, you're going to be analyzing an informative speech. You will click on the link that's given to you right here. It's for a YouTube video, and then answer the questions on the Word document attached. Again, it's from the Word document, so you're going to want to answer the following questions on a separate Word document. So once you've uploaded the YouTube video, you've watched it, I do believe it's a 7-minute speech about acupuncture. You are going to identify the speaker's general purpose, specific purpose, thesis, which is also known as the central idea, order of main points, and then you're going to give your opinion on whether or not you thought the speaker had effective eye contact, and if the speaker's facial expressions enhanced what they were saying verbally or distracted from what they were saying verbally. Then you're going to answer the question, did the speaker use effective body movement? In your opinion, did the speaker use effective vocal variety? Was the speaker's visual aid effective? And if an A was excellent and an F was failing, what overall grade would you give the speech? Why did you choose that grade? Again, your responses should be written on a separate Word document in complete sentence format in order to get in full credit. This is worth 10 points. It's a present, not present value description. And then the criteria shows you, based upon the guidelines above, you indicated the general purpose, specific purpose, and so on. Again, your responses should be written in a complete sentence format on a separate Word document and should be submitted to the appropriate Dropbox titled Informative Speech Analysis. I've put the guidelines and rubric for the intercultural presentation in this lesson, so that way you can take all the information that you've learned about from chapters 12 and 13 and the activities that I've given you and really see how they match up with the things that you're going to be doing for your intercultural presentation. I've placed the self-recording guidelines in here, and I gave the elongated version because you will be assessed not only on structure and organization, but also delivery. And delivery comes in two forms, visual or vocal and nonverbal. So vocal and nonverbal. You're going to articulate your message, your introduction, your body, your conclusion, transitions throughout, but I also need to be able to see your body. And if you go back to the previous lesson where we talked about aspects of verbal and nonverbal communication as it relates to public speaking, you'll see that I talk about how much of your body I need to be able to see in the camera. And I should be able to see from at least the mid-thigh all the way up so I can properly assess you and your delivery. So read through those. And you've been working on this paper for several weeks. It's your conflict analysis paper. It will also be due in this lesson. So please make sure that if you have not submitted it already, that you review the guidelines. You can go back to those previous lessons that talked about interpersonal conflict. But you are going to write your paper in essay format, overall introduction, body, and a conclusion. You should include the following items listed below. Describe the conflict, identify the nature of the conflict, reflect on the participants' responses to the conflict as well as your responses. Were they assertive, non-assertive, passive-aggressive, or aggressive? And then what would you do differently if faced with a similar conflict again? What did you learn from this experience? The paper should be at minimum 2 pages double-spaced and have approximately 5 to 8 paragraphs, 1-inch margins, font should be 12 and double-spaced. You can use Times New Roman Arial, I don't mind for this one. Your name, course name and section number and date should be in the upper right-hand corner, and then submit to the appropriate Dropbox attached in this lesson. This paper is worth 75 points. It is a major assignment. You want to make sure that in order to get full credit, you go through each of the guidelines I've given you. Make sure you address each of them and have your paper in the format that I require. Submit to the Dropbox, and then to end the lesson, You have chapters 12 and 13 quiz. This will be worth 20 points, and there's 20 questions. 10 questions are true and false. 10 questions are multiple choice. They're worth, again, 1 point apiece. You are allowed to take this quiz multiple times up until the due date, which is December 3rd, or until you reach a 100, whatever comes first. Then I just give you reminders of all the things that we're doing this lesson. And then congratulations, you have completed this lesson and you're moving on to the final lesson of the semester. You are going to have 2 weeks to complete this lesson. If you'll look at the due date, you should get started by Monday, November 20th, and everything should be completed in this lesson no later than 11:59 p.m. on December 3rd. If you have any questions about any of the assignments in this lesson or any assignments within the course, please do not hesitate to email, call, or stop by. Keep up the good work.